Is the Chinese economy a Ponzi scheme or not? Well, I talked about the Chinese economy quite some time on this channel. I talked about how China is in deflation, its prices are dropping, it's seeing quite a growth problem as well, demand issue as well. Its consumers are backing off, their economic growth is declining as well. China's definitely in a recession and will probably see spillover effects globally as well. Let's also not forget one of the biggest things out there, which has been in the news recently, is the Chinese real estate market. Before COVID, for a very long time, the Chinese real estate market was the hot thing. It was making China a lot of money and its property values grew. Chinese real estate market is one of the biggest out there globally. And then you hear news about Country Garden and most importantly about Evergrande, who's defaulted and they're feeling the pain and the pinch. So what's going on? Is the Chinese economy a Ponzi scheme or not? Well, maybe not the Chinese economy, right? The government didn't come out and say that, hey, let's create a Ponzi scheme, but there were players out there, and especially in the real estate industry, that how they conducted themselves with leverage and the greed that came in, that may look like a Ponzi scheme. And I'll talk about it more in this video, and I'll leave two links in the description, one from Guardian that talks about this concept, this Ponzi scheme concept, and also one from Reddit. But before I get into that, my name is Daniel. You're watching InfraVest. InfraVest is an organization that promotes financial literacy, teaches you about the macroeconomic news, and we tie it with the financial markets, with stocks, bonds, commodities, currencies, and yes, also we talk about crypto. If you're interested in content like this, hit the subscribe button and the bell icon to be notified on the next video. And also, if you like to learn more, we have got courses on macroeconomics and we tie it in with investing and trading. Just visit www.inforvesting.com. The link is in the description for you to check it out. Now, let's talk about the Chinese real estate Ponzi scheme. Now, I'm going to go through this article here from Reddit. Again, the link is in the description and it explains it quite nicely here. Now, to start off, we already know about the Chinese property developers out there like Evergrande, who's basically defaulted, filed for Chapter 15. And now, before I talk more about this scheme, let's first go through the article where it explains about how the real estate development cycle works in China. So in this article, it says, number one, the government will start an auction for real estate development land. Various property development companies like Evergrande and Country Garden will bid for development land. The winner gets the right to develop and sell the apartment units and collect HOA after. Okay, so nothing crazy there. Very simple. We have the government coming out. They say, hey, we got some land. Do you want to buy some land? Auction it out. Real estate developers come and say, hey, I'll buy it for this or I'll buy it for that. And whoever wins the auction gets the land. Very simple, right? Makes sense. Now, number two, the winner can sell off planned apartment units before they even start building, but they need to put down collateral for all the expenses that require building the apartments. All right, again, nothing too crazy here. This we've seen also in many other places. Many other developers do this as well, where, okay, we've got the land, we want to start building. If you're interested in an apartment, then put down some collateral, some money down, and we will get you an apartment in 2-3 years from now, right? It's pre-construction, takes time to build, blah, blah, blah. Take some, put down some down payment there, and we will get you your apartment in few years, right? This is simple. This is a normal way of doing things, so no problem there. Now, after all the units are finished and sold, they will have a profit. Obviously, right? The developers don't do this just for free, just for fun, right? There's got to be profit involved. And how do they make the profits? Very simple. It's the price of units that they sold, the revenue, how many units they sold minus their expenses, right? And in the expenses component, you have development related expense and plus the bid for acquiring the land. And then when you subtract the two, there's your profit. Now, the system is designed nothing out of order. There's nothing crazy about this, right? You see this in many developers do this. However, almost all real estate developers, instead of having the collateral sitting on their balance sheet doing nothing, they move that collateral around, borrow money from the banks issue bonds simultaneously to bid on more land and construct new developments, which basically puts huge leverage on those companies. Okay, so here it is. I'm a developer, let's just say. I'm saying, hey, you want an apartment, a unit? No problem. Give me some money, some down payment. I'm gonna take that and I'm gonna build you a nice apartment. 3 years time, you're gonna get it. All right. So let's say there's thousands of you out there who want an apartment, and I'm the developer collecting all this money. So this money that I get, it's sitting on the balance sheet. It's sitting there doing nothing. So what do I do with that money? Well, as a developer, and as this article is explaining, these developers, they take that and they move it around. And what are they doing? Are they gambling in the stock market? Are they buying crypto, Bitcoin? What's going on here? Well, they could do that, right? But mostly they're taking that money and they're going back to banks, they're issuing bonds, and they're saying, hey, look, I got, more money. My balance sheet, just look at it. So that means you can give me bigger loan, bigger debt. And then when they get accepted, when they get more loans and debt, they take that money, the loans, the debt, the collateral, and they go back to the government who are auctioning this land and they start buying all the land, right? Because why did they have this craziness, this fever of going back to the government and buying land? Because the profits were amazing. Right? Because after the great financial crisis, right, real estate in China has been going up and going up and going up. And before COVID, it's just spurred up and it's been doing well, right? And especially in first tier, second tier cities in China, the demand grew and people were just chasing real estate. The demand was huge, right? As well as the interest rates over those years went down, just like in many countries out there, right? After the great financial crisis, we've all experienced low interest rates for a very long time. So a lot of people got comfortable. Low interest rates, stocks to the moon, real estate to the moon, and especially in certain cities, in certain countries and areas, right? Real estate really, really boomed. So these developers were milking money. They were doing well. So what happened? Well, greed, right? And over leverage. So they said, okay, let's take this money, give people promises, right? Because there's demand. We buy a land, we build a building with apartments, and we sell those apartments and those units. They get sold immediately, very fast. So they've been experiencing this. So okay, no problem. Let's go out there, get some lot of loans, over levered to the teeth, and then let's go out and buy these lands, right? Because the land that they purchase, right, the money that's sitting there, it's not earning anything. So they want to do something with that money, right? Instead of investing in a, safe government bond, they're taking that, buying land, and because they're going to earn more value out of it, because after a couple of years, that value of that land appreciates. So by the time they get to building an apartment complex building there, the land has increased, the value of these units also are higher, and they're making nice profit. So the cycle's been going on and on and on and on and on to a point where they were just milking money, taking money and say, buy more land, taking money, buy more land, taking money, saying, hey, I promise you I'll give you those units, units very soon, don't worry. And then when they buy the land, then they say, oh, sold some units from that other development and we got some collateral and money from other people, let's finish the previous projects, and they start building that. It's all built, boom, immediately sold, and on to the next. And as they get more money in, they're going and they're just leveraging, getting as much debt because they want to buy that land, and they want to park that money and buy that land because it was just going on for a very long time. Now, things have changed. Right? As we've seen globally, interest rates have gone up, right? Around the world, things have tightened up. We see that we're not really in a low interest rate environment anymore. And the West versus the East, a lot of tensions there, especially between US and China. Demand globally starting to come down, exports coming down, imports falling. Now we're seeing the pain and the pinch. And especially after COVID, we had a little bit of a run up in 2021 with the stimulus and so on. But now in 2022, 2023, right, you're seeing a complete halt, and it's crickets. Crickets everywhere globally. And China's the first one that's showing the really true signs, showing the deflation, showing the demand crunch, showing the exports falling and crashing, and the real estate market at a complete halt. Possibly the bubble probably bursted right there just because of what's happening in the economic situation and And number two, with this leveraging and this debt and the crazy debt that people took and that developers took as well. So this debt and the amount of debt that people took, and also let's not forget G in the last 2-3 years said he was going to come after these companies and people who over levered because things went crazy. People were just going crazy with the amount of greed and property values and so on. And he has and doesn't care. And now you're seeing that, right? So why is it a Ponzi scheme? Because these developers are still taking money, and they're taking that money and they've got excess debt and interest that they have to pay, and they're now paying off or trying to build those existing projects and trying to sell them and get it off their balance sheet, the books, and try to take that profit. So it resembles a Ponzi scheme because, again, you're taking money and you're doing something else with it, right? You're taking money, and how a Ponzi scheme works is you're taking money and you're paying the previous clients there, right? Like, for example, Bernie Madoff, right? The reason why Bernie Madoff, ran the Ponzi scheme so successfully is because during the boom era, the economy and the markets were doing well, amazingly well. He was taking in money and then paying previous investors the money that was coming in from the new investors. And it's just taking money and giving it to the previous one, taking new money, giving it to the previous one, taking new money, giving it to the previous investors. Same thing with this real estate. You're taking money, buying land, taking money, trying to pay off, build and finish the previous projects out there. So you see that Ponzi scheme cycle, and that's why Evergrande is in a big pain, big problem there. And that's why they're filing for bankruptcy. Now, at the same time, right, when you look into all of this, why the Chinese government doesn't care so much? Well, according to a comment, if you scroll down, it says that Evergrande has roughly 2%. So the debt that Evergrande took is roughly 2% of China's annual GDP. So the Chinese central government will watch them fail, and they're doing exactly that. They're watching them fail, and Xi said that. He did say that we're not going to save these people, and we're going to come after over-levered companies, over-levered people, and we're not going to come out to save them. So there you go. That's the Ponzi scheme, the Chinese real estate Ponzi scheme that everyone, or you might be hearing out there on the web, and it just started with Evergrande, and basically you see this bubble burst, and it's going to be very interesting to also see how other real estate developers in China, and not only China but also globally, what else is going to come up. This is just one example. China is one example. You could see other examples as well globally where there could be some sort of credit event, some sort of black swan event, something where other real estate developers or something else that causes or just completely implodes, and it looks something similar to this because everybody was high off the low interest rate environment. Everyone was partying with the low interest rate environment. Everyone was having fun when debt was cheap. Now it's not. Party is over. The punch bowl is over, and we see high rates. And yes, that's why you're seeing consumer sentiment, the spending slow down, demand slow down, exports, imports, all of this. It'll be interesting how this plays out in the next couple of months to a year. Let me know what you guys think. Leave a comment below, subscribe, hit the like button and bell icon to be notified on the next video, and I'll see you guys around. Cheers, bye.